Hey now, Grizz here, back at it again with another cool knife. Today is not a Swiss Army knife, but it's still something super cool. What we've got today is your everyday handy scout knife. The scout pattern is probably, one of the, next to the Swiss Army knife, is certainly one of the most famous patterns of knives. Extremely popular, made by tons of different makers. And there's even variety in the types of tools. Some of them have a reamer, some of them have a pen blade. They don't have back tools. To me, that's the difference between an officer's knife and a scout knife. Is a camp knife has back tools, a scout knife does not. That's my take on it. But anyway, we've got this nice long bail, clevis, whichever you prefer to call it. It's on the end where it can certainly, you got to be careful closing the blade. You don't want to close it on that bail. It's got the nice nickel silver bolsters, the nickel silver shield, carbon steel springs and tools with brass, thick brass spacer in the middle and brass liners. Beautiful little knife. Got the nickel silver shield, blank shield. This is not stag. This is the bone that has been dyed and jigged to somewhat resemble stag, but it's just jigged bone. Still, it's nice. It's nicely worn in. Somebody definitely carried the crap out of it. It's got a ton of pocket wear to it. First up, let's look at the tools. We've got a long screwdriver combination can opener. Now, for a lot of you, I'm sure this will give you a hint who made this knife, because there's a couple makers that use these long ones, but especially on these earlier scout knives, you see one maker in particular with them. Then we've got a two-piece can opener. So this is a laminated tool, meaning that each piece is stamped out of a separate piece, and then they're welded or whatever, brazed together. You can actually see a seam right down there. Occasionally you'll see these with this part busted off, but that's a fine can opener there. Next up, we've got that pen blade in pretty good shape. A little rough. I can clean this up a little bit, but she's not in bad shape as it is. Got a little pen blade there. And last but not least, we've got the main event. Look at that. Check out the long pull. We've got a nice swedge at the top of it. Bam. Beautiful. So look at that stamp. Stamp is John Primble Belknap. And that bottom line, I'm trying to figure out what it says. It says something hardware and manufacturing company. Now, on the back it says 3335, and you can barely make out the top of it. There's a star under it. Now, that star is there. This is made by Boker USA. Belknap, John Primble Belknap was a hardware store, and they had knives made for them. I'm sure by other makers too, but specifically they're known for having Boker knives. So this is a way, sometimes you can get into a USA Boker for a good deal, because some people don't realize that this isn't some generic hardware store knife, but it's actually made by Boker. Now, is it a particularly great knife? No. When it comes to Boker, at least in my experience anyway, Boker USA is like a second tier Boker. If you want a really nice Boker knife, get a German one. But the USA ones are great too. But we can look at why I say that here. You can see the spring sits proud of the liners in the back and actually sticks out at one end longer. It's just bad machine work there. And what that does is it makes the blade come back a little farther than it should. It should be sitting right about there, but it's all the way angled back there. That's one of my pet peeves. I hate when I see the blades kicked back like that, because I think it's so ugly. But I mean, this knife I picked up for an absolute steal, so I'm not worried about it at all. I've been wanting to check out one of these Boker USA Scout knives for a while, particularly the John Primble Belknap ones. And it's a nice little knife. They have some other patterns. If you see these Belknap knives and they got that little star under the number, they're almost certainly a Boker knife. And yeah, they're just cool little knives. I love the Scout knives. It's like a cousin of the Swiss Army knife. You know, they're almost the same thing, but different. I was a Scout as a kid, and I had one of these knives. I have an old Ulster knife somewhere. I just couldn't find it before making this video, but it's almost the exact same knife as this, just made by Ulster. What I do like about this is that thick spacer in the middle, because like I was just talking about another knife the other day, here's the way Camillus went about solving the same problem when they built this Remington Bandit, and they used 2 liners instead of doing a thick one like this, and it just looks a little nicer. You know, not a big deal. Doesn't affect the usefulness of the knife or the durability or anything. It's just a little thing that kind of bugs me. What really bugged me about this is that cheap corkscrew. Why with the junk corkscrew? Everything else on there is so nice. All right, I'll let the Bandit go. The Bandit's in the past. Yeah, man. John Primble Belknap, made by Boker USA. I believe this is... I'm pretty sure this is pre-World War II, but I could be wrong there. I didn't do a ton of research on this. Frankly, it's not my main highway of interest, but I saw this for a good deal, and I was like, you know what, that's something I haven't showed on here a lot of Scout knives, so let me get a Scout knife and show that to everybody. Anyway, that's my John Primble Belknap from Boker. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peter Grizz out.